The Nexus Prime system was a nightmare. Its star emitted dangerous radiation, and its asteroid belts made navigation nearly impossible. But it was strategically vital, a key junction for intergalactic travel and a lifeline for countless human colonies in the Hellion cluster. The enemy, a coalition of advanced alien species known as the Concordants, sought to capture it, severing humanity's supply lines and cutting off the Hellion cluster entirely. Admiral Evelyn Eve Voss, commanding what remained of the human fleet, knew she was outgunned and outnumbered. The Concordance' fleet dwarfed hers in size, and its ships bristled with weapons centuries ahead of anything Earth had developed. But if humanity was known for one thing, it was the ability to turn disadvantage into opportunity. Her plan was bold, risky, and born from desperation. They would fight a guerrilla space war. As the enemy fleet approached, Eve's ships didn't line up for a doomed frontal defense. Instead, her smaller, more agile vessels scattered into the asteroid fields, using the chaotic terrain as a shield. Concordance ships were bigger, faster, and heavily shielded, but they were designed for open space battles, not for navigating the treacherous debris of a system like Nexus Prime. Eve's fleet turned the asteroid field into a hunting ground. They employed hit-and-run tactics, hiding behind asteroids, launching surprise salvos of missiles, and then vanishing back into the chaotic mess. Ships used thrusters at minimal power, conserving energy and evading detection, while drones rigged with improvised explosives drifted harmlessly with the natural flow of space debris, waiting to detonate against an alien hull. Concordance commanders, unaccustomed to this kind of warfare, grew frustrated. Their tactical superiority meant little when human ships refused to meet them head-on. Several of their massive warships were crippled after colliding with asteroids they had failed to detect in time, and others were picked apart by human snipers lying in wait for hours, perfectly hidden within the debris. Weeks dragged on, and the tide slowly turned. The alien fleet's morale crumbled as they watched their invincible war machines be outwitted by an inferior force. What was meant to be a swift victory became a nightmare of attrition. Admiral Voss, coordinating every hit-and-run attack with ruthless precision, managed to thin their ranks until finally, with one devastating ambush, she destroyed their flagship, forcing the remaining alien forces to retreat. Humanity held Nexus Prime. Desert of Death, the Marines who turned a hostile alien world into a death trap for the invaders. On the remote desert planet of Auraxis 5, the Concordance's elite infantry landed in full force. Their plan was simple: crush the last pocket of human resistance that had been stranded there after a failed evacuation. It seemed like an easy task. The humans were cut off, under-equipped, and exposed on a planet that was nothing more than a barren wasteland. But the Concordance had forgotten one thing: humans were experts at adapting. Colonel Marcus Grim Graves led a small battalion of Marines, and he knew the alien forces were superior in every measurable way, except one. They had never fought on Auraxis 5. The planet was infamous for its scorching daytime heat and bone-chilling nights, its brutal sandstorms that could rip the flesh off a man's bones, and its lethal native fauna. Graves saw potential in these deadly conditions. Instead of digging in for a final stand, he ordered his Marines to scatter across the desert, setting up a network of hidden outposts in canyons, caves, and under the shifting sands themselves. Armed with little more than scrap metal and the occasional stolen alien tech, they improvised. Repurposed Concordance shields became sun-reflecting mirrors to blind alien drones, scavenged equipment turned into traps buried beneath the desert dunes, and using the planet's sandstorms as cover, they would strike at night and disappear before dawn. The aliens, unused to the planet's conditions, suffered immensely. Their environmental suits weren't designed for Auraxis 5's brutal temperatures, and their heavy armor only slowed them down in the deep sand. What should have been a quick conquest turned into a drawn-out guerrilla war, with the human Marines attacking and vanishing like desert phantoms. By the time the Concordance realized they were being bled dry by a vastly inferior force, it was too late. Graves and his Marines had turned the desert itself into a weapon. Ambushes became more frequent, with the humans using scavenged tech and improvised explosives to devastating effect. Eventually, the alien forces were forced to abandon their assault, retreating off-world, while Graves and his Marines remained, standing victorious in the unforgiving desert. Stealing the sun, how human commandos sabotaged the alien coalition's superweapon. The Concordants had built a weapon that could end the war in a single strike, a stellar manipulator capable of collapsing stars. This Sunbreaker could annihilate entire solar systems with one pull of the trigger. It was humanity's doom if they couldn't stop it. Enter Captain Hannah Reyes and her team of special forces. Their mission: infiltrate the Concordance's most heavily defended facility where the Sunbreaker was hidden and disable it before it became operational. The alien base was a technological marvel: automated defenses, drones, and energy shields that could fry an intruder with a single touch. The human team had no chance of matching its firepower. But what they lacked in tech, they made up for in audacity and cunning. Using captured alien infiltration tech, Reyes' team entered the base not by force, but by subterfuge. Posing as maintenance workers, they bypassed checkpoints with forged credentials, studying the alien system's flaws and exploiting their overconfidence. Reyes was a master hacker, and she rewrote security protocols to allow her team deeper access, unnoticed. Once inside, they planted sabotage devices in critical systems, hidden where the aliens would never think to look. They rigged environmental controls to malfunction, tricking the alien staff into abandoning key areas of the base to escape false toxic gas alarms. With the aliens distracted, the team made their way to the Sunbreaker's core. There, they found a challenge even their creativity wasn't prepared for. The Sunbreaker was wired into the very fabric of space-time, defended by self-repairing alien technology. Instead of trying to destroy it outright, Reyes made a decision only a human would think of. She rewired the system to backfire. When the Concordants finally attempted to fire the Sunbreaker, it ripped itself apart, destroying their fleet and base in one blinding pulse of energy. Humanity had once again outsmarted their enemies, proving that technology alone wasn't enough to crush the human spirit. The rise of Terra's rebellion, humanity's greatest comeback against alien oppression. Earth had fallen. For decades, the Concordants occupied humanity's homeworld, subjugating its people under a brutal regime of control. The great cities were ruined, and Earth's resources were drained to fuel the alien war machine. Humanity, beaten and enslaved, was on the verge of extinction. But in the shadows of the ruined cities, resistance grew. Under the leadership of former soldier Elias Kane, a fractured underground network of human rebels began to unite. Kane knew that humans couldn't hope to defeat the Concordants in open battle. But they didn't need to. Instead, they would wage a war of sabotage and subversion, using Earth's own knowledge of its terrain and history to their advantage. The rebellion spread like wildfire. Farmers turned their tools into weapons. Engineers hijacked Concordant supply lines, rerouting vital resources back to the rebels. Hackers disabled alien surveillance grids, creating blind spots for guerrilla strikes. And through it all, Kane's message resonated: humanity would never submit. The Concordants, used to controlling obedient, technologically dependent species, couldn't understand how humans thrived in chaos. Every time they crushed a rebel cell, 3 more rose to take its place. And when they launched brutal crackdowns, the human spirit only hardened. Monuments to lost heroes, both from Earth's ancient history and the current conflict, became rallying points for new uprisings. The final blow came when Kane's forces managed to capture an alien dreadnought in orbit. Using the ship's weaponry, they targeted the Concordance's command center on Earth, cutting off the head of the occupation. With their leadership shattered and their forces in disarray, the alien invaders had no choice but to abandon Earth. Humanity had risen from the ashes of subjugation. The war wasn't over, but Earth was free. The last stand of terror, how Earth's defenders crushed an alien invasion against all odds. It was the day the galaxy had feared for decades. The full might of the Concordance was finally descending upon Earth, determined to end the human threat once and for all. Billions of troops, fleets of ships, and weapons that could reduce continents to molten slag had been marshaled for the invasion. But Earth was ready. From the depths of the Pacific Ocean to the skies above the Himalayas, humanity had transformed their homeworld into an impregnable fortress. Hidden railguns powered by geothermal energy lined the coasts, while artificial storm generators controlled the weather, creating hurricanes to deter orbital strikes. Anti-orbital cannons disguised as skyscrapers in the ruins of old cities could down entire alien battleships with a single hit. When the invasion came, it was brutal. Alien dropships blackened the sky, and their armies poured into every major continent. But everywhere they landed, they were met with fierce resistance. Civilians took up arms, using knowledge of their own home to launch guerrilla attacks. The aliens, unused to fighting in Earth's diverse and harsh environments, quickly found themselves overwhelmed. In the cities, humans used EMP bursts to disable advanced concordance technology, leveling the playing field. In the jungles, soldiers used hit-and-run tactics to bleed the enemy dry. And in space, the Earth Defense Fleet used guerrilla tactics similar to those that had worked in the Nexus Prime system, leading the aliens into asteroid fields and launching ambushes with devastating accuracy. The final battle came in the skies above North America. A concordant superweapon was descending, a device capable of burning Earth's entire atmosphere in minutes. But as it powered up, human stealth bombers, camouflaged by Earth's magnetic fields, emerged from the clouds. They launched a coordinated strike, disabling the weapon's core and sending it crashing into the ocean. The Concordance, having thrown everything they had at Earth, was forced to retreat. Humanity had done the impossible. They had defended their homeworld against an enemy far superior in technology and numbers. Earth remained the unbreakable heart of the human spirit. Across the galaxy, the legend of humanity grew. Aliens, once convinced of their superiority, now feared the resourcefulness, resilience, and raw willpower of Earth's warriors. The war was far from over, but one thing was clear: humanity would never be conquered.